Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Crimson Dawn Lore, where I, the author, teach you, the viewer, about the world of Crimson Dawn. Today's episode is going to be a bit short, as I'm basically going to introduce the main characters of the latter half of the story, who are the members of the new Soviet Union's 13th Spetsnaz Detachment. They first appeared in chapters 30 and 31, which was their debut during the Middle Eastern War that raged from 2030 until 2033. So for today, we're just going to recap those chapters. Anyway, let's begin. The 13th Spetsnaz Detachment was originally led by Nikolai Kalashnikov, but after he was chosen by Letyeskov for the position of Minister of State Security when the new Soviet Union was founded, leadership of the division then fell to the next highest ranked member, who was Sergeant Vladimir Maklenskov. He was one of the few Spetsnaz operatives that used an AKM-24, which is basically a heavily modernized AKM. The other two higher-ranked members in his fire team, Junior Sergeants Ivan Zolotov and Sergei Zaitsev, used standard AK-24 rifles, though sometimes Zaitsev preferred an RPK-24, while Zolotov fancied an SVD-24 and other long-range rifles. Their debut was during the Battle of Amasra on April 3, 2030. Tasked with destroying key Islamic Imperial anti-ship cannons, the three Spetsnaz operatives performed a halo jump and landed right on top of the enemy forces. To cover his comrade's descent, Maklenskov fired a high-explosive 40mm grenade from his underslung GP-34 grenade launcher, and then shredded the enemy survivors with 7.62x39 unleashed from his AKM-24. While Soviet Marines stormed the beaches of Amasra, the 13th Spetsnaz were able to swiftly breach the anti-ship cannon facilities, with Maklenskov using another 40mm grenade from his GP-34 to breach the door. Him and the rest of the trio then cleared the gun emplacement by killing the gunners, and then set explosive charges onto the magazines. They repeated this process until all of the cannons on the shore were ready to be destroyed, and when they were far enough away from the cannons, Zaitsev hit the detonator and the cannons exploded in a glorious fireball that illuminated the night sky of the battlefield. This cleared the way for the remaining Soviet forces to storm the city and secure it as a beachhead for the liberation of Anatolia. The battle would continue into the morning of April 4, 2030, and the 13th Spetsnaz would continue to assist regular Soviet forces stationed there. However, they underestimated the Islamic Empire's defenses and were bogged down in trenches outside the city. Luckily for the Soviet forces, the ground and air forces of the Greater Kingdom of Greece finally arrived to assist their newfound and unlikely ally, with the Soviets and Greeks earning their newfound coalition a much-needed victory. This fateful battle would prove to Premier Letyeskov and the rest of Soviet High Command that the 13th Spetsnaz were the shining example of what it meant to be a member of the Special Forces of the new Soviet Union. And that concludes today's episode of Crimson Dawn Lore. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.